Hi, I'm Rick. Welcome back to The Journey. Well, we've been down here in Baja for almost a month now. From the top to the bottom, from the left to the right, our little 30-foot school bus has made it all the way around. And in all of those miles and in all of that time, we've learned a few things about Baja, Mexico. So without further ado, here are 13, count them up, 13 tips that you need to survive your next road trip down through Baja. Oh, and while number 8 technically isn't a must-know, it kind of is. All right, the first word you need to learn is called a tope. This is a tope. They are speed bumps. Sometimes they're what you expect, like a speed bump, and sometimes they're little metal things in the ground, and they will really hurt you. But it's the ones that they don't mark, and they could be anywhere. They can be in the middle of a freeway, and then all of a sudden, whammo, bottom of your vehicle is messed up. So yeah, get used to that, because everywhere in here, everywhere, I mean everywhere, you're going to find a tope. You're going to learn to hate them. And to go along with those topes, you also have the roads. Now, you hear a lot of complaints about how horrible the roads are down here, and, well, they kind of are. Honestly, much of the roads down here feel like, well, the interstates of Missouri. They have that many potholes. The problem, though, the problem isn't the potholes and the bumps and the lumps. It's the width. You see, the roads are about as wide as this bus is. At least that's the way it feels like. And there are no shoulders. So when you're tooling down the road and some 18-wheeler passes you at high speed, it feels like you're going to fall off. And at times, we've seen trucks actually do that. There is a danger here. You got to always keep your head on a swivel, always be looking around, always consciously be driving. You can't just put it on autopilot. Dogs. The next thing we need to talk about are dogs. You're going to find them everywhere. And by that I mean they know how to cross the road. They know how to look both ways. They know how to be as much of a human as, well, you're a human. If you don't like dogs, you don't like seeing dogs not on leashes, well, Baja may not be the place for you, because they are literally everywhere. And they're friendly. I mean, we have yet to find a dog of the hundreds and hundreds I've seen that were not friendly and smart. And they just kind of come up and go, hey, how you doing? And they kind of go their merry way. In fact, we found one that was so adorable, we almost decided to take it home. But yep, dogs. Hope you like dogs. Oh, and as far as where I am right now, we are going to talk about this more in number 8. You know, that must-know thing that really isn't a must-know, but really is. I am in some ruins, a cannery of some kind, about, I don't know, half hour outside of Todos Santos. And, well, this is part of what you're going to need to know in number 8. Okay, here's an important decision you might want to ask yourself. Do I want to travel down here solo, or do I want to come as part of a group, part of a convoy? Well, that's us right there. And that right there is part of, well, the convoy that we've been a part of. His name is JJ. JJ's out there is his YouTube channel. Go give him a watch. He's pretty good. Kind of. Sorry, JJ. And here's the fun part. I'm with another YouTuber. JJ's out there. I just recorded a happy little message on his camera. We'll see what he actually finds later. But we had that decision to make. We decided to come down into Baja. We chose to come with other people, mainly because comfort. Now, you know, Nikki, my girlfriend, she speaks fluent Spanish. It is her native tongue. And so that helps us a little bit. But if you come down with people who've been here before, or if you just come in a group, it does kind of make it, well, a little more fun. It also makes it a little more of a struggle. And by that I mean you're going to be moving at the pace of, well, the group decision. And for me, that's been a little bit of a struggle at times. You know, suddenly you want to go, hey, let's go see the ruins of a cannery. Well, what if half your group doesn't want to do it? So a lot of compromises are made if you're in a group. Now, maybe your gang is someone you've known each other forever, and it's easier to get along with. People we're traveling with, I just met them a couple weeks ago. So there is a bit of a learning curve. I think in the not too distant future, like maybe the next couple of days, we are going to split back up. Nikki and I'll be solo again, which we were for a couple of days. And then, yeah, they came and found us. There's things to be said for both. Kind of figure out your way of travel, your level of comfort, and just pick one or both and go on your merry way. down to the bottom of Baja. I am apparently not as young as I actually think I am. So let's talk about iOverlander. iOverlander is probably the most important application that we have on our phone when it comes to travel. We use a lot of others when we're in the States to find places to park, places to stay. But when you're out and about and you're trying to do a little wild camping, iOverlander is the app. You can put in filters for the different kind of camping you want, whether you want water, you want fuel, they have just about everything. It is curated by the people who use it. So someone tags a thing and says, I've been here, here's what parking is like, here's my experience. Other people pile on. Now that means, well, you're at the mercy of other people's words. We have generally found them to be very true and very helpful. We use it all the time. We want to go, where are we going to stay tomorrow? Well, let's pull up iOverlander and see what's generally in this area that we might be. And so far it has not really let us down. Well, be careful of the roads. That's the biggest thing. It doesn't quite tell you the roads that you're going to go down to get to the spot. Sometimes the comments do, sometimes they don't. Fire yourself up maps. Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever map you use, and pull up the satellite imagery, because they ain't all asphalt. Most of them are not. Fueling stations. It was one of my biggest concerns before I came down to Baja. I had heard stories that you can't find gas, you can't find diesel, you can't find anything. Well, you can find it. Now, here's one little thing. You're not going to pump your own. At every single gas station we've been to, they pump it for you. And the diesel, if you use diesel, those pumps are usually not in the same place as the gas. Now, having said all of that, they are not exactly every 4 miles down the road or 4 kilometers as they use down here. When you get down to maybe 3/4 of a tank or so, you might want to just fill up at the next Pemex station that you find, but make sure you keep topped off. You will find plenty of good diesel and gas. We haven't had any bad fuel. I haven't even heard of anyone having any bad fuel. Just make sure you don't go too far off in the boonies before you go, oh look, the fuel light just checked on. Maybe we should look for gas. You don't want to do that. Okay, here's one that a lot of people don't really talk about, and that's landscapes and weather. Now, as far as the weather goes, well, we're having a cloudy day, but it's one of the very damn few. Most of the days we've had down here have just been full sun. It's also February, by the way, which means, well, the sun is hot, the air is kind of cool, it makes for a nice little mixture. Temperatures drop seriously in the evening, which is also quite nice, but it does get windy. It can be windy as hell down here, which currently today, we don't have any of anything. And, well, my solar panels are not happy. But the landscapes are what really get me. I mean, when you first come down into Baja, it's just going to be desert. You know what desert looks like. Sand, periodic mountains, scrub, not much of anything. And then constantly, you're just going to find beach, you're going to find water, and everything in between. You're suddenly going to find an oasis where for a kilometer, everything is green and trees are growing because that's where the water came off the mountains and that's where all the green started. And then you're going to find the endless cacti. You're just wall-to-wall cacti everywhere. And the landscape just constantly changes. It keeps you on your toes. Now, here's the problem. You don't want to look away from the roadway too much. So maybe take turns driving so one of y'all can look and one of y'all can like bare knuckle, white knuckle your... Man, that is a cool wave. Sorry, I got distracted. Let's go look. And that leads us to the next point. That is just how easy it is to disconnect from everything down here. And in fact, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So how easy is it to disconnect? Well, if you're one of those New York type A personalities, it will take a while. But the pace of life down in Mexico is slow. Everybody moves slow. It's not because anybody's lazy. It's just, why move fast? I mean, you're sitting in a wonderful paradisical. You're in a wonderful place. Why in the hell do you have to move 1,000 miles a minute? Alrighty, we have moved on to the infamous number 8. That is, don't ever take your current situation for granted. Your current place, your current location, your current journey. Every single place is special. It may not look it, it may just be a wide spot in the road. This is a wide spot in the road. There is nothing between Cabo San Lucas and here in Todos Santos except for things like this. Any chance that you get, stop, talk to a local, have them tell you where the cool things are. We had no idea there's cave paintings outside of San Ignacio until we left, so we have to go back and look. Well, don't go back. Find out what's around and go explore it. There's just things hidden everywhere. I would not have known about the cannery, the ruins. I would not have known about any of this if I hadn't asked around. So do yourself a favor. Give yourself time. Don't try to do 17 towns in 17 days. Just wander, just go, linger, and enjoy the places you are. You're gonna find some incredible things down here. Okay, let's talk bureaucracy. Let's talk paperwork. Let's talk about the things you need to actually come down here. Does your vehicle need an import tax? No, not in Baja. If you go to the mainland, yeah, I think it's called a tip, but you do not need it down here. Do you need insurance for your vehicle? Yes, you do. Now, you have to have liability at the very least, up to full coverage. We got something through, I think it was Baja Bound. It was affordable for liability, not so much for full coverage. Do some shopping. The insurance that you get in Baja is not the insurance that you will use in the mainland. Think of it as two different Mexicos. And as far as you, well, that's kind of the easy part. When you cross over the border and after the Border Patrol inspects your vehicle, and for us it wasn't that bad, it seemed more cursory, but as soon as you cross over the border, you're going to go into a building and get what's called an FMM. Don't ask me what it stands for. It basically is your visa to be allowed to stay in Baja, and you can say up to 6 months if you want. So when they ask you how long do you want to stay, no matter what, just say the maximum 180 days, and whether you use it or not, you should get to be down here for 180 days. It does cost something. I don't remember what it cost, but it wasn't that horrible. It's more of a formality, if you will. As far as answering your question, do I really have to get insurance? Do I really have to get the FMM? Can't I just drive on by? Well, sure you can, but we're going to be talking a little bit about the checkpoints, so you probably are going to want to do it, and you probably are going to make copies. Water and food safety. That always seems to be a big concern of everyone. We haven't had a problem at all with that. It's the usual travelers things you need to know. You know, make sure the ice cubes are from purified water. Make sure that you don't eat a salad because they may have washed it with bad water. Generally speaking, potable water is available everywhere down here. If you want to fill up your tank, if you have an RV, they have purified water stations. They're a little hard to find. Use iOverlander and you can. They may not actually look like a water station. You may have to hunt around to find them, or go into any convenience store or grocery store or mercado and get your own water. It's not that hard down here. The food is very fresh. We have not had any problems at all with fresh food, with bad food, with getting travelers diarrhea. As soon as I say that, of course, but no, you're not going to have a problem. Use your app, find out where the water stations are, and just use some common sense and you'll be fine. Okay, a little lay of the land. All of these things here, I think they're old canneries, some kind of ruins. Way out there is the Pacific Ocean, and in between is a very nice hotel, and it's only $700 a night plus taxes and fees. We chose not to stay there. Instead, we're parked next to the ruins for free. And that's something we need to talk about. You're on a road trip and you want to know where to stay. Now, I alluded to this in another video that if you're the hotel kind of person, you might want to, do a little research first. A lot of these areas between towns, they just don't have hotels. You want to plan accordingly. But if you're like us and you're in an RV, a bus, a van, something on wheels, well, then you're going to find something like this. Now, you could stay at the $700 hotel that I just showed you a second ago, or you can get your iOverlander. Remember, we talked about that, and you can find places for free. Now, the past couple of days, we've been down in a town called Todos Santos, and we actually just parked on the street right outside of a park. It's the way they do the color coding on the curbs in most of the towns down here. If it doesn't have color, you can park there. You don't park in red, you don't park in green. You park in, white and no color. And we spent a couple days there. It was fine, a little noisy, and we came up here because we didn't want so much noisy. I would say half of the places we've stayed in Baja so far have been in free parking we found on iOverlander. Yep, there are RV parks. There are RV parks sitting on water. There are RV parks all over the place, and generally they're anywhere from 200 to 400 pesos a night. Most of them are dry camping, by the way. Sometimes you get away with some water and electricity. I wouldn't use the water. But generally speaking, if you are the mobile type, you aren't going to have much of a problem. Now, we did have to come down kind of a gnarly dirt road to get here, and frankly, the bus was, sand surfing. And there's a lot of flies out here here too. So just go on iOverlander and you can put on the top thing looking for established campsites, informal campsite, or wild camping. This, by the way, is wild camping, and lots of things will come up, lots of comments. You will find a place to stay. Let's talk checkpoints. Now, in the United States, you're probably never going to see one of these unless it's one of those let's check your breath to see how much you've been drinking kind of checkpoints. But down here, you're going to find quite a few of them. Now, some of them are set in place. You can go on iOverlander and find out exactly where they are. And sometimes they just pop up. They will block an entire road. They'll shovel you off onto the side area, which is usually gravel and rock and dirt. It's a pain in the butt because it shakes your bus so much. But they have the right to inspect you. They can board you. They can ask for your paperwork. They can do pretty much anything they want to do to try to find illegal things happening. We have been stopped, half a dozen times. And never once have they really even talked to us. Sometimes they wave you on. Sometimes they just say, hey, what you doing? We're tourists. Have a nice day. Now, there are tales of people, having bad experiences at the checkpoints. JJ, the guy we're traveling with, he actually got stopped. And, the cop asked him for a donation. It was like a minor infraction that he did. And, we can take you down to the station and you can pay your 3,000 peso fine, or you can make a donation. Now, we haven't had that, and I'll give you a little trick, by the way. If you have a GoPro or a dash cam or something like that, turn it on, because they will come in, they will see it blinking, they will see themselves, and they'll kind of go, it's best not to have this recorded. So they'll just move on to the next person. I think JJ gave them the equivalent of $30 US, and off they went. Though it does happen down here. It's infrequent, but it does. Now, at this point, you may be saying, but Rick, this does not sound like a fine, lovely place to be. It sounds like, you're going to get shaken down by the police. You're going to have to go through all of these hardships. No, you're not. Those are the exceptions. And that brings us to the last thing you need to know, and that's the locals, and that's the culture. You can't just blow through here and think you're an expat, think you're on vacation. You need to talk to the locals. You need to experience the locals. But Rick, you say, I don't know Spanish. Well, there's a surprising amount of English down here. Most people, especially in the big towns, do speak English, or somebody knows English, or you can just pantomime and point and use your Google Translate. They want to communicate with you, and a lot of them want to practice their English. And they have so much knowledge. They are very proud of their country. They're very proud of their areas, very proud of their towns. We stayed in the front yard of a local family. And they had nothing, but they wanted to share everything with us, and we wanted to share what we had back. And we got to learn a lot about that area and a lot about them. And that's the beauty of Baja. Yeah, the water is gorgeous, the cacti, the mountains, everything. People are more beautiful. And that's the part that keeps me down here. Thanks for watching.